Greetings. Thank you for joining me again. So this week you can see that I'm in a dark room, a little bit mysterious. And the reason why we are here is because I'm going to show you how to use a scrying mirror or a dark mirror for the purposes of divination. Now, admittedly, it's not an easy method to learn. It really assumes that you have some prerequisites. You've studied a few of the other mystical arts for a period of time and you've opened up or unlocked some of those magical senses. But these days, Eastern mystical arts are very popular. So anything from the China right down to India is considered okay today. And a lot of these art forms means that you have opened up your third eye. Now, this chakra is located right in the center of your forehead, and it's said to be connected, well, it is connected to your pineal gland, kind of in the middle of your head. And the pineal gland is responsible for your psychic ability, your ability to connect with the spiritual world. But firstly, I want to take it a step back and show you scrying mirrors like you've never seen it before, right? Everyone's seen a scrying mirror. But I want to talk a little bit about them and tell you my opinion on scrying mirrors. Now, you don't need something that you see here. This is the triangle of the art, and it's used in a rather major ritual where it's a more formal ritual. It's ceremonial magic if you want. There's a lot of preparation, but this is one of the tools that you use in that specific ritual. We don't have to, I won't be showing you that in this course because it is very detailed and there's a lot of preparation, and it's not a quick little spell you share with people over the internet in just 15 minutes to 30 minutes. It's a lot to process before you can actually have a good connection there. But I'm going to show it here. I'll leave it here for this video because it's very easy to see and demonstrate from. The type of mirror that I normally use might be something like this. Now, this is just a plain old glass mirror. And glass isn't even the most, they say, the most auspicious or best mirror that you use for scrying. But I quite like glass because it's a great reflective surface, and I can see very easily into the darkness, and I can see what's going on behind me quite easily with the glass. And it's always good to have a little stand. That's typically how it sits, and it'll just sit on my altar space facing me, so I'm looking directly at it. Now, just to show you here while I'm holding this mirror, when I'm using my scrying mirror for scrying, I'm actually looking into it. I'm not looking down. And I think that's quite important to take note of because you're getting a different effect. If you're trying to sense what's going on into the background or see what else is happening in the space or connect with the energy, let's just assume that maybe some of the spirits might be lower down. And if you're looking down into the mirror, you're only going to see up the top of your space. Try that out yourself. You'll know what I mean. So that's that one. I also recommend don't get little tiny mirrors. I mean, we sell little tiny mirrors and I think bless, but the problem is that they're really super small. Now, maybe because I'm older and I need glasses sometimes to see, and I don't like little mirrors. But I just think, why not get the best mirror that you can afford or make your own? So make it a little bit larger. Now, I will say a small mirror can be beneficial if you're traveling or if you need to hide it or you're going out, for example, into the bush, or we call it bushwalking, you guys call it hiking, and you need something small to take. Yes, that would be beneficial then. But me personally, at my altar space or something, I want a mirror. Now, do you have to have a store-bought mirror? No, you don't. You can make it your own by yourself very easily. Or, so my place back in Australia, there's windows, beautiful big windows that in the daytime you can see out into the yard and there's nothing in the yard, like no reflective lights in the yard. So at nighttime, when you look out into the yard, you can't see the yard. All you see is yourself, your own reflection in the glass. So it becomes essentially a gigantic black mirror. Fabulous. And that can be really freaky. I love it too, because you're sitting there and you can sort of, in your peripheral vision, you can see or feel different things happening in the background. For me, that's quite exciting. Having a mirror, like you can see here, it's no good because all you're going to see is yourself in that glass. It's a too clear a vision of yourself, and especially new people. It's very distracting. I still find it very distracting now. There's times that I will look into a plain mirror, and we'll get into that in this series actually, because there's lots of fun mirror spells for very positive reasons. So we'll talk about that then. But when you're scrying into a mirror, it's not it's not the best. So the type of glass I didn't mention that is the best, they say, is the obsidian glass. Now, obsidian is a natural form of volcanic glass. It's very consistent and flawless as a material, so it can be polished to a very high standard, which of course makes it perfect for scrying, divination, and so on. Obsidian is also very good for protecting the user from negativity. And it's also said to be a very good grounding stone. And why is that important? Well, when you're doing work in the spiritual world, it's very helpful and protecting in some ways that you're grounded. And, when you're accessing the spiritual world from the third eye, sometimes you need a stone there that connects you back down to the earth. Let me just leave it at that. But obsidian is normally the stone scrying mirrors are made of. Very quickly, you might say, I'm on a huge budget. It's very easy to make. All you need to do is have a mirror, and with matte black paint, you paint over it in even strokes. I would go back and do it again. When it's dry, of course, you might want to put it on a board or something like that. Maybe you put it in a frame and then you just put it on a stand as such, and that's it. And then you're ready to consecrate the mirror. And that's really how simple it can be, so long as you can see a reflection in that mirror. Now, to begin to consecrate this mirror, I'll be showing you a very quick and easy method where you'll be consecrating with the incense, of course, for cleansing, purification. Also, the incense is an invitation to the spirits to come and join us here, and it's also perfuming the space, making it inviting for the spirits to come. You'll need an oil of some type. So the oils that I have here are an invocation oil. Probably can't see that well, but that's an invocation oil. I'll be calling to my goddess Astaroth. Goddess Astaroth was once the Egyptian goddess Astarte or Isis. And of course, when Christianity came in and demonized all the Greek and Roman gods and goddesses, she was converted to a male, because remember, women weren't important enough to even be converted over to a demon. And so all those gods and goddesses were converted over to being demons. But they're not, they're all our ancient gods and goddesses. And so that's really important to someone like me who is a pagan. So it's very important that I honor the ancients. So the ancient god, goddess, demon, whatever you want to call her, I'll call her Astaroth. And so I have an oil. In this oil, the other one I have to show you here is a summoning oil. But there's other oils that you may choose to use, such as sage or frankincense, whatever floats your boat. And I like to put a drop of my own blood into the oil. Now, you only need a little drop, and you can use a little lancet pin if you like, but you put a drop of your blood into the oil, because that is a connecting, offering, energy source into that oil. It's charging that oil. So that's what you want. It's an offering to that goddess that here is our oil. And you don't share your oils. That's just a tip. Now, if you like working with stones, and obviously I do, you'll often see me with a lot of blue stones. Now, of course, this is lapis lazuli. That connects me in several ways, not only to the goddess, but to my higher spiritual self, of course. But kayanite is another one that is very important for connecting to the sixth sense, opening yourself up to that spiritual connection. And so I do wear a lot of kayanite as well. And also I have a very smooth, it's definitely not mantra beads, but it was a very special piece I treated myself to just to wear while I'm meditating specifically, or sometimes when I really want to open up my six senses. You'll see me wearing this, or you'll see it about in one of my temple spaces for sure. But consider that it's not a must, but it might be something else that helps you open up during this time. So if you're wearing stone jewelry, maybe what you'll do while you're focusing or getting into state is that you'll just put the stone on your third eye. So you're connecting with the energy of that and properties of that stone. So something to think about. The setup here I have is 2 black candles, my scrying mirror, and incense. Now you might choose purple candles or whatever candle color is most desirable for whoever you want to connect with. Now I do have a little incantation here, and I'll put it up on the screen for you because I know that some people have said it's beneficial when I do that. But the idea is that you'll take a few minutes to really visualize what you're trying to do here. It's not just picking up the scrying mirror and throwing it through the incense. Why are you doing this ritual? Why is it important to you? Why do you need to consecrate the scrying mirror? Why are you connecting with this god or goddess or universal source of all energy, which is another option if you don't have a god or goddess or you don't know one to connect to? Why is all that important? And so you're just thinking about that for a minute. When you're okay with that, you start the breathing exercises. And I've mentioned this before, and you'll hear me say this all through this series. I'll layer it as well as we go along. So what we're doing is we're breathing in for 4, holding for 4, breathing out for 4, and holding for 4. So it's breathing in, holding, breathing out, holding. Now, depending on what your lifestyle like, or if you're full of anxiety or anything like that beforehand, it can take a couple of sequences before you can actually get into a rhythm. But the idea is you're getting into a rhythm. You're moving the energy now through your body, through the breath, through the oxygen, going through your body, and you're starting to shift energetically. Like even when I'm thinking about this, because I've done it so many times, my body is already knowing what it's supposed to be doing. I'm feeling the energy run through, like it's going down my arms. I can feel it charging down my legs because I know it's ready for that breath. And I'm taking these breaths now, and it's in my diaphragm, my whole body is ready for it. And that's something for you to think about before any spell or ritual, to really shift between the mundane world, the everyday world, into the magical world. Otherwise, it's just an activity just like brushing your hair, going to the bathroom, all of that type of stuff. Okay, do you get what I mean? So you do that for around 30 breaths to him. By the time you finish, I promise you, you'll feel charged. Once that happens, I raise up my hands and I call down to the universal source of all energy. To me, this looks like dark matter, all that energy in the universe that we don't even understand, but we know is it responsible for the expansion of everything. We're calling down to try and tap into some of that frequency. So you're calling down to that energy, but you're seeing it as an electric blue light. So it's coming down in your body and it's charging you. You're feeling it's like power shooting straight down to your body. I like to charge it out of my hands, out of my arms. And at that point, I'll demonstrate with this mirror here because it's smaller. I hold the mirror in my hands. And remember, you've set your incense here, your altar space is set up ready for it. and you're connecting with the spiritual source. And what you're saying is, I'll put it up on the screen for you. I charge this scrying mirror in the name of the old ones, the ancients, the sun, the moon, and stars. By the power of the earth, air, fire, and water, I banish undesired energies from this tool of spiritual connection, so to provide the knowledge I seek. I consecrate this scrying mirror, and it is mine. So mote it be. So I have a very specific prayer that I like to say, but it could be considered a little dark. So what I'll say here is that I'll call to the universal source of everything, and I'll ask my goddess Astaroth to come down into my temple space and bestow upon me her blessings, so that I may have success in using this scrying mirror for the purposes of connecting to the spiritual world. So be it. But what's really important is that you write your own little sentence, really tight, who you're connecting with, why you're connecting, and what you would like as an outcome. That's really important. The next thing that you'll do is, with the oil, you will draw the sigil of that spirit on the back of the mirror. Now, in the dark arts, we have a sigil for each of the spirits that we connect with. But if you don't have a sigil for your spirit, what you can do is take the oil and place it on the back of the mirror in each of the corners. Or maybe you want to dot it all around the mirror. That's perfectly okay. If you don't have an oil, it's okay to use a drop of your blood and put that in the center of the mirror. Blood is an offering, and it's also a very powerful charging tool. So don't be scared of using blood. Blood has been used in all magic and all religions since the beginning of time. So if you're not having success in the way you're doing stuff now, why not just try it? Don't be so freaked out. It's just a drop of your blood and you have enough of it. Now, I'll say this very quickly. If that both freaks you out, yes, you can use other fluids the same way. I'll leave it at that. Okay. The next thing you might do is say the same little chant again, but this time you will pass it through the mirror as you're saying it. And what you're doing is you're thinking about that spirit now connecting into your space. The spirit is now here. I've invited Astaroth into my space, and she is here. She is watching me. She is hearing my request. I'm visualizing that the incense is removing any undesirable energy from this object, and it's creating a brand new magical tool. Something that when I personally connect with it, it is an instant link or another link that I can have to be more successful as a witch, as a spellcaster. Now that you've done that, if it's easier for you, you can close your eyes, but you're now in the presence of the spirits. You're now holding your charged magical object, and maybe you want to give thanks and gratitude to the spiritual world for presenting you with this opportunity to connect better through the purposes of divination. Something like that, but you put it in your own words. It's important that I just don't tell you what to say. You have to make it real for you. And it's not silly, because there is no such thing as right or wrong when it comes to magic. This isn't ceremonial magic, okay, where sometimes the words do matter in order to get the right outcome. It's not like that in witchcraft or folk magic. Even though many books will tell you that you have to do it this way, it's not true at all. You don't. When you've finished, hold it in your hands. When you've said anything else you want to say, and then say your closing words, such as "so be it," "so it is done," and that is it. It's finished. You can now put it on your stand. You're ready to use it for scrying purposes. So let's talk about now using it for divination or using it for scrying purposes. Now, whether you're doing divination with it, or maybe you just want to start connecting to the spiritual world or seeing the spiritual world through the lens of the mirror, which can be super fun. The first thing that you should do, I think, is write down the purpose, what you're trying to do. I should have said before, the consecration is best on a full moon period. Just for the natural charging energies of a full moon. But to do your scrying, if you do it better, if you feel like you're more psychically aware on a full moon, do it on a full moon. When I teach this class, I say you have to do this exercise for 30 days straight. And for the first 10 to 14 days, it'll probably feel like you're not connecting at all. But that's what I say to my students. When you're doing this yourself at home, it's the same thing where you should write down the purpose first, because sometimes when you do see a spirit in the mirror or you see energy, it can freak you out and you lose track of what you're trying to do. Now let's talk about using it for scrying. It's the same sort of idea with the setup where you have the 2 candles in a color of your choice. You have incense burning in the bowl, but it's above, I sit it under the mirror so the smoke drifts up over the mirror. I think that is very helpful as well, because it helps you stop looking at yourself and soften your gaze so you can connect better with the third eye. When you're looking into the mirror, you'll probably try and visualize it as like a black pool. So you imagine it as a black pool of water that you're looking into. What I'll be doing here is, once again, I'll be deep breathing to try and relax myself. And through the third eye, I want to access by the pineal gland the spiritual world. And once I feel like I am relaxed enough, my gaze has softened, that's when I'll start calling to the spirits. And there's no special incantation that you say at this time. Even now, what I'm seeing is there's like gray clouds. It's sort of coming in and out of vision. I can actually see through my peripheral vision the camera that I'm shooting from. I can see a candle on the other side of the room, and I'm softly seeing the mirror, and there's my face is changing shape in this mirror, and it's like a cloud sort of effect. I'm not looking directly at myself. As I said, I'm looking out here, and it's a soft gaze, and my face is morphing even as I speak. So this time I might call to the goddess, call to the goddess Astaroth. I seek your divine wisdom and knowledge on a subject that is important to me now. Come forth and hear my question. Something like this. There's no right way to say. And then I might sit quietly. If I don't hear anything else, I might say, here is my question. I ask that you present your answer when I am in my dream state in a way that I can understand the answer. Now, an adept can actually access the spirit and connect with the spirit via all 5 senses. I must admit that's not me. It's not one of my skills, but I don't normally use this tool for scrying. I use it for spell work, and really as an acknowledgement that spirit is around and present, and for certain other types of spells. Now, how else can the spirit connect with you? Well, the spirits sometimes show themselves directly in the mirror. The spirit can actually appear outside of the mirror. Normally, I see the spirits directly in the back of the mirror. And that's suitable for what I do. Other people, like an adept, can actually have in-depth conversations. This requires a lot of training. Now, it's not a waste of time if you can't connect to the spirit directly through a black mirror. What this is a perfect training exercise. And especially for the modern witch who doesn't go through normal formal training exercises, or spends a lot of time with the breathing exercises and the visualization exercises. That is essential to be a very strong practitioner in witchcraft or occultism. This is a perfect training tool for you, helping you access the spiritual world through that third eye. So just think of it that way. Anyways, that's all I have to share with you for this week. I hope this has inspired you to grab a black mirror or make a black mirror if you haven't already done so yourself. And hopefully I've shared with you a couple of reasons why you should use the black mirror, even if it's not for divination purposes. As always, if you have a different way of using this mirror, or if you have a chant that you like to use, I would love to know what it is. Maybe I can share it on the blog post related to this video, and help other people with their path. I like doing that. Well, until next week, may your spellcasting be auspicious. Bye for now.